Are you aware that forgiveness could be the most powerful act of self love you'll ever experience? And that true healing isn't about fixing the past, it's about rewriting the story you tell yourself every day. In today's episode, you'll meet Rocio, Aquino, and Angel Orengo, a couple whose 23-year marriage has survived trauma, transformation, and the corporate climb to discover something much deeper, soulful purpose. You'll hear how Angel walked away from international TV sales to find meaning, and how Rocio broke the generational patterns of emotional pain, and how together they turned their personal journey into a best-selling spiritual novel and a movement. If you've ever wondered what it looks like to truly evolve, love consciously, or rewrite your life with intention, this conversation will move you, heal you, and maybe even change your life. Stay tuned to hear more. Welcome to Helping Healers Succeed. This is for you if you're an entrepreneur who wants to make a real difference in people's lives. Despite doing all the right strategies and tactics, something unseen is still blocking your success. You're listening to Dr. Anastasia Chopelas, physicist turned energy healer, your guide with tips, stories, and interviews to uncover the hidden energetic patterns keeping you stuck so you can grow your business with more impact, income, and ease without burning out. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the upcoming programs in store for you. Welcome back. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here. To introduce Rocio Aquino and Angel Orengo are a devoted couple of 23 years whose personal journeys, Rocio's lifelong path to self-love and forgiveness, and Angel's shift from corporate success to soulful purpose, intertwine in their powerful novel, The Orchid, The Secret Code of Modern Goddesses. Together, they offer deep, hard-won wisdom on healing, empowerment, and the power of conscious relationships. Boy, do we all need that. You will walk away with practical tools for lasting transformation through intentional forgiveness, gratitude, and mindful intention setting, as well as an inspiring example of how love and self-awareness can lead to true freedom. So I want to ask you, the Orchid delves into themes of self-discovery and empowerment. What inspired you both to embark on this collaborative writing journey, and how do your personal experiences shape the narrative?
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you.
You're
It's a
most
pleasure. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. And look, this all started, we traveled around the world. We've been married 23 years, together 25 years. And because of our corporate careers, mine eventually is the one that lasted longer. We traveled around the world. So we went from Mexico to Miami to Hong Kong to London, and now where we reside in Los Angeles. And of course, all that gave us incredible learnings, incredible exposure to cultures, to ways of thinking. And the moment you start experiencing different ways of thinking, you start to change. But it was something that happened to the two of us, an investment we made that eventually led us, Rocio to search for forgiveness and me to search for purpose. I felt empty in spite of being very successful in my corporate career. And Rocio wanted to learn how to forgive that incident. I was able to let it go. She would ask me, how did you? And I would say, it doesn't matter, just let it go, thinking that that's how simple it was for other people, in this case, for her. And it was through her that I was able to learn language and methodology and understanding about my way of being and my way of thinking. And so as we embarked on that journey, we started to change. And we would come out of classes or reading a book and look at each other and say, really? Is this real? Why do we feel so light? Why do we feel so happy? And one day you got up and said,
You know, I was feeling, like I said a little bit early, is my body was full of energy and full of emotion. that I was not able to let go. And I was carrying emotion for the last probably 35 years. So, in the moment that I was feeling so light and really to understand that I can forgive my father, my mother, and many, many people in the way, in that moment is, oh my God, this is humongous. How we can share this with the world in a way that we only can do. So let's do a TV show. And he was like, okay.
So that wasn't a crazy idea because we come from the world of entertainment. So sales,
Oh,
advertising, sales. So it wasn't really out there. And we know people that could help us do that. But somehow it was no one is going to open the door for people who haven't never been creatives before. We have been in sales, but not creativity. So why don't we do a book? She looked at me and I said, yeah, look, if we do a book and it changes one life, that's amazing. But if it changes the life of 1 million people, that's something. And then we can walk into the offices of those producers and then go in with our idea of a TV show. And that's how it started.
Yes. And
oh, so do you have a show coming up now?
I hope so. Really, really would hope so. Because when you see it, then you begin to mimic. And that's why we want to do a show. Oh, and in this case is the book. When you read it, you feel good about who you are and the situation that you are. So that energy that you are doing and living goes around all your life, all your relationships with everything. So that's why we want really this to go viral.
Oh, I'm really excited about that because these are things that I teach in my programs. I have programs that just sound just exactly like what you're offering, and I'd love to have you come in and teach a segment or two. That would be really exciting for my students.
Oh, that'd be
Will
incredible.
be an
It'll be a
honor.
Yeah.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And so the concept of intentional forgiveness is pivotal in your book. Could you elaborate on how this practice can transform personal relationships and self-perception?
Look, Anastasia, when we first started, the truth is we had to experience everything, right? And it was important to us that it was firsthand experience. So everything we wanted to speak about in the book was something that either she experienced, I experienced, or we experienced together. Few instances is not, but we then saw someone in front of us experience it and capture it. For us, there were 5 lessons that at the end we were able to concentrate the focus of the book on, and it's awareness. Become truly aware of the why of your life. Why do you think the way you do? Why do you speak the way you do? Where does it come from? Observe yourself as if you're looking at the play of your life playing out in front of you. And then just ask yourself, do I like it? Do I like me as I observe myself? And if the answer is yes, by all means, continue to do it. And if you don't, then ask yourself another question, which is, do I want to change it?
Yeah, that's part of this 12-step program.
Exactly.
Right? You
Exactly.
come to doing a fearless and moral inventory, and then you ask to be relieved of whatever it is you don't like about yourself, right?
Exactly.
And some of the things that we do is to counteract something that we experienced previously that was a painful experience,
Sure.
right?
And so when we do that, we said, then there are 3 things that we recommend, 3 powers that we recommend and you use to counteract exactly as you said. And they are gratefulness, real gratitude, but really gratitude in the deep sense of the word, as a source of power rather than just a word that may at times be too superficial, forgiveness, and acceptance. And if you're able to go through that, and as you do, obviously shifts happen within you, and you reclaim your power.
Yes. And people
Please
don't
do.
understand that. And I just want to touch on this because this forgiveness, that people don't understand that your forgiveness is not for the other person. It's
No.
for you. It's for
Yeah.
you to let it go so you can live your life and move forward with ease and grace rather than having all of those emotions, baggage on your back, right? And
Yeah.
the gratitude is finding the gift or the lesson that you received, even though it was painful.
Yeah.
And then acceptance is just the final letting go. Like,
Yes.
and
Important is to really understand that life is a school.
yes,
Then when you know these rules, then you can move through life with the tools to really play it a win-win situation for everyone.
yes,
So we play here the characters when they go to this amazing spa. We want to play with the imagination of everyone who reads the book. Why? Because if you can imagine, you can achieve it. You can go to that place. So we put the best spa in the world with teachers like you, Anastasia,
That's right.
where they go and they have different therapies. And for 7 days, they're going to have therapies to release plus knowledge. Imagine a place like that you can go, stay for 7 days, and they going to pamper you, provide a safe space for really go inside of you and begin to remove and understand your limiting beliefs. And when you begin to see it in a circle of women and they begin to talk, you gain inspiration. And this inspiration help you to transform yourself in a very easy way. Because you understand that you are not alone and you can achieve anything.
exactly. And I love the differences that you have because you, Rocio, are very emotional. And uh, you, Angel, you are accepting of that and are willing to see the differences and even love her because she's that way rather than, oh, that's not right. That's impossible. I love that. I'm really enjoying this.
Thank you. We go ahead. You go.
Thank you. Something that was super key in our relationship was he was nice all his life. He was born already with a Teflon inside of him. Things happen and he was not taking anything. And in my case, I was taking everything. But he was very respectful in a way that look inside of you for what reason you are like this. So he was always helping me to become my better self.
Without knowing anything about spirituality, or it was just innate wisdom that I carried with me. And I could see the diamond in her. Often we speak about it. I could see the diamond before she saw it. Right. And it was that collaboration and that partnership that took us throughout the years.
Well, often it takes someone else to reflect back to us who we are because we're in the container, but we can't read our own label, right?
100%.
And as I saw her really almost transmutate herself and shift form from the inside out, I started understanding me and the universe around me. And that was the gift of this joint collaboration because we were two very separate beings that were basically learning to be new by simply, to your point, looking at each other.
Yeah, I have a husband that's like that. He's awesome. But we got married when we were 60. So we've been married a dozen years now.
Wow. Congratulations. You're honeymooners.
Still. Well, we've known each other since 1969.
Wow.
We dated back then, and then we went our separate ways, and then we found our way back to each other in
Oh.
2013.
How beautiful is that?
Yes, it was wonderful. So transitioning from high stakes corporate roles to deep spiritual exploration is a significant shift. Angel, can you share insights from your journey from international TV sales to personal transformation?
Yeah. For a long time, I was looking for more. I was blessed that it gave us an incredible lifestyle and incredible opportunities. And really, the most fascinating of them all was really traveling around the world. When you look at my daughters today, they still, to this day, they spend more time in Hong Kong than they have anywhere else. And we laugh because they're neither, I'm from Puerto Rico. They're not Puerto Rican. Rocio is Mexican. They're not Mexican. They were born in the United States. They're not American. They're a little bit of everything. And is that unification of all those characteristics that made them so special, which is the beauty of the human beings, that we're all so different. As I started and continued climbing in the corporate ladder, it was obvious to me that I needed more. As any other career, I could see also that it was coming to an end. And it coincided with the pandemic, obviously, and that there was an incredible period of introspection for many people because of that. But more importantly, that yearn for something more when Rocio comes to me and said, look, I'm going to take a course in spiritual psychology. And it's a 2-year course. And someone told me that if we don't take it together, we might get divorced because we may grow apart. So I like you. I'd really like for this whole relationship to continue. Do you want to join? And I said, well, of course, I like you too. So let's do this. But of course, that's the human in me analyzing what actually happened. Really, all of this was meant to be, because that was then complemented by my exit from my corporate career. But I was already looking at something that promised, because it was a promise at that point, purpose. And it felt comfortable. It felt it was the right thing to do. And I was already, because I was very introspective by nature, it allowed me to go inside, and having the support of my love and partner to do that. My daughters also were like, Dad, you can do this. And so it was baby steps, but because I accompanied with something else that was starting around that same time, it felt that it was a natural progression as opposed to a loss, a death of a career, and a not knowing of where I was heading. I knew something was coming, even though I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, it
And
sounds like a gradual awakening,
yes,
right? Instead of like my awakening was painful, difficult, all of a sudden I was in my 40s, early 40s, and I cried for weeks basically because all of the pain had to come out.
right.
And all of the things that I'd tamped down in my body had to come out, and they came out all at once. But it looks like that's, I'm glad to see that it doesn't have to be that dramatic.
For him,
For me, yeah.
because for me it was like an exercise.
Exorcism.
Exorcism, yes, I
Oh
under-
my God.
Yeah.
For him was like oh my God, Rocio, my thoughts, my words, my feelings, and my actions are aligned now. And I was next to him, crying, doing all the exercise, and he was fantastic. Was a beautiful to see that his ego was not on charge of him. Instead, in my case, the ego was totally in charge of my life. So for me, it was super painful to see all the damage that I was doing to myself. And seeing that was really beautiful.
Yeah, you must have also had a history with difficult relationships like I did, that with, you mentioned your parents. That's where mostly starts. My dad wasn't around much, but my mom was the difficult one, and we were like this.
Mm.
Time. Even though we loved each other, we just didn't seem to get along.
I experienced a lot of those things. I mean, we've spoken publicly about this, so it's not a surprise, but I was sexually abused when I was a child, 8, 9 years old. My father was absent. The extent of my relationship with my dad is 5 hours together when I was 40 years old. But somehow the way I was wired was different. And I now understand that I was living from my heart way before I knew that was the case. And now, as we've embarked on this journey, it's just like now is just I'm just launching myself into the abyss and saying, "Here I am, catch me. I know you're gonna catch me."
You're
To do
coming
that.
home to yourself.
Yes,
You probably had an experience in a previous life that brought you to this place.
I'm sure.
Because all of us are born at a certain, I call it a certain frequency. And you
Yes.
probably already had a high frequency and you helped bring hers up.
Yes. And she helped me see mine in a
Yeah.
way in which I had never really observed it before. And so that's how it begins. And we decided, let's write a book, but let's not write it as a self-help book. No one cares about our story. And we decided, let's tell it as the story of many humans. And then specifically, one day she wakes up one day and said, "We're having coffee in our kitchen." She goes, "Oh, by the way, I had a dream last night," because she received the downloads and I just listen, right? And she goes, "It has to be catered and focused on women." And it took me a second and I looked at my life. It's almost like, shh. And I said, "Of course it is." And so it was. And that's how the project got started. And we began telling the stories of these amazing women who make us cry every day out of gratitude and humility.
Yeah. So you have a 23-year marriage. So how have love and evolution played roles in navigating transformations together? We were just already talking about that, but both personally and professionally.
Has been fantastic because really through life you have several transformations that you have, at least for a woman, because from be I don't know, it's like every 7 years, and then you need to transform yourself again and again and again. So for me, I understand that change is the normal in my life. So at one point, when we have our most difficult time together, we ask the question, do we need to be together
Are we
or,
better off together or apart?
or apart? And
Are
it's
you different in age?
Yeah, but not that much, by 4 years.
Oh, by 4 years, so you're out of sync. My husband and I are 2 months apart.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm the older one.
nice. In this case, was barriers and limiting beliefs and our relationship with the belief of what should be the marriage. And it's like a marriage needs to be in this certain way. And then we discover that needs to be in our way. And we don't need to compare to no one else. And that was a reinvention for us. Like, I don't need to live the life of my mother and how she told me I need to live. No, this is you and I. This is only for us to live and to enjoy. So, really, we met each other working together 25 years ago. He was my boss. So at one point was fantastic now to come back and work together. At the beginning, of course, everyone have an opinion. Everyone is like, I cannot do it with my husband. Are you crazy? You're gonna spend so much time. You're gonna be boring. But at one point, it's so beautiful what we are doing
Yeah.
that I cannot find or fit of a better partner to do it because it has so much meaning. And at one point, we think that we planned this before coming here. because the synchronicities and the message and
The simpleness with which it flows.
And I totally, I can see how you are together. You have this really awesome flow between the two of you. There's like love and acceptance and understanding,
A lot of respect.
a lot of respect, kindness.
Yeah.
D- Um, and my husband and I also ask this same question because it's so easy with us. We never argue. We have just deep discussions. We talk about anything. We can spend 24/7 together, and it's way better than being apart.
yes.
And other people
Oh,
do what 24/7 together? How can you do that? That sounds that's horrible. And I go, no, it's great.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Uh,
And when we found that rhythm, we saw it 25 years ago in working together, and our first love was professional. There was such deep admiration one for the other that stayed with us. And we tried starting businesses in between then and now. It wouldn't pan out until now. And now I look back and I say, these past 23 years were a preparation for what we are doing right now, because we know how to work with each other, we admire each other, and we respect each other so deeply. And now we do it with this product that is a container of love, essentially. And there's nothing greater than to do what we're doing and to have purpose, to have found the freedom and the liberty to fly and to do it together. Oh, it's like, it's incredible.
It's so needed now. There's so much divisiveness, and this love and respect of one another is so needed. So the Orchid produces practical tools for self-healing and empowerment. And what are immediate strategies you recommend for individuals seeking to shift their mindset and embrace gratitude?
Look, one of the reasons why we wrote the book in the way we did it was to have the person come on a journey.
Mhm.
Often what happens with certain books, or the moment that a human being knows, I am going to see a therapist or I'm going to get a lesson, it's the gates come up, right? And it's immediately, subconsciously at times, we separate ourselves and we put the guard up. In the book, it's really the story of other people. And it's really just soft and gentle. And they're invited through the process and to do little things. Everything in the book is taught is to connect with things that are easily accessible, that are in the immediacy of our space. So there's an invitation to simply go to a quiet place and meditate a little. And we take it from the point of view of someone who's never done it, so that we take everyone through almost as if this is 101 meditation and 101 being with yourself. There are instances in which we invite someone to pick up the pen and simply write, and write whatever comes. And also, if what's coming out is dire and difficult and heavy, that's okay too. We
Yeah.
encourage people not to
Not
read that one.
to be non-judgmental of what comes out of them, because
To
it
be
needs to come
non-judgmental.
out.
Yeah. There are times when we're inviting people to do simple exercises. None of what you're going to read at the Orchid is out of the ordinary. In fact, it will feel very common. So one of the exercises that we invite people to do is to really look at themselves in the mirror and stay there for a while and repeat, I love you, but do it enough times so that it starts to really sink in and goes beyond the superficial, I love you, see ya, goodbye, or, thank you, gotta go, to, no, really, I thank you. Thank you to me, the most powerful and important person in my life. So the exercises are just subtle enough. They feel insignificant, but because they're following the story of these beautiful women, as somehow these exercises are touching them and they're speaking about them, and we hear their thoughts or sometimes their words expressing themselves after having done it, the person begins to familiarize themselves with the topic or the exercise in a manner that it's almost subconscious and easy and gentle and just very invitational.
Yeah, too many people practice self-loathing and they
Ooh.
look in the mirror and, oh, I hate this wrinkle and I hate my shape of my nose and I hate that I have a saggy
Yeah.
neck and all of that. And I look in the mirror and I go, you're beautiful today, right? My dad, when he was in his late 80s, would look in the mirror and go, so far, so good.
So far, so amazing. That's why at one point somebody asked me, don't you miss your life that you can go out and take a coffee with your friends? And it's because I love my friends and I love the kids of my friends and and all the family. We are doing this because it's so necessary that more people begins to understand how to do it. Because if I keep it to myself, I cannot live really another day keeping things to myself. It's like I know the formula for the most amazing cake. Let's share the cake with everyone because I see the necessity to.
Yes.
And it's so important to do this work of, you know what? It's scary. It's scary to share yourself with the world in another way you never think you're going to do it. But I'm going to do it because I want to show that relationship are possible. Change is possible. I was at 50, I became my best friend. But I can see that now the change in my kids. Now one is 19 and the other one is 17. And they are rocking their life. And it's like how we can really together work this out to really help to empower our societies, our communities, our schools. That's why we are doing this.
Yeah, you touched on a really important point is that when you heal yourself, you're actually healing the generations, not
Yes.
just the generations that come after you, but also the generations that come before you.
Yes.
And one healed person in a family can heal all of the people in the family,
Yes.
Yes.
right?
Ah, how
And
beautiful.
that's the point. It's possible. Angel and I, we came for dysfunctional families. And it's possible to do it, even though we were really successful. But I never feel success. And now, in the quietest moment in my closet, I feel success because somebody is feeling better about themselves. So really is this quiet feeling that comes to you. And now I can see the effects. And really, we don't want to stop in a TV show. We want to go global because in this part of the world, women are more empowered than in other parts.
Oh, absolutely. We
So
have some of the most empowered people here. Australia is pretty good too.
Mhm.
They have I lived in Australia for 3 months. They have they kind of have this American freedom thing because they were founded also. I mean, we're here 250 years now. They're there 150 years, right? So they founded pretty late and they have this kind of freedom thing going, and women feel it too. Unfortunately, right now in the current regime, we're having a little trouble, but we'll get it back. This
Yeah,
always swings both ways.
that's right.
Right? And I love that you both talk about needing to transition. I was a physics professor, so there's no emotion in that.
I love physics.
Yeah, I do too. It can be fun.
It-
So let's talk about your book. It challenges traditional goal setting by advocating for mindful intention setting. How does this approach foster lasting change beyond the conventional checklists, deadlines, and goal setting?
Look, the way we like to present it, or the way we present it in the book, it's not like this is a transition from A to Z. It's really understanding that there's an alphabet and that there are different stops and places. The moment you realize that there's these tools that you can utilize, the moment you become more aware that you have energy and that if you're vibrating at a higher or lower energy, what's a higher energy? Gratitude, happiness, love are higher. Heavy shame and guilt, right? So that way, secrets. So when you know, it's like, oh, I'm feeling really shameful right now. That's a low energy. If we can go to that level of consciousness, then you can say, okay, I'm going to try to reclaim some of that power that I'm giving to that shame. Let's find out what that is. And if I can get to the bottom of it, even better. But just becoming aware, it's really important. As you go, I found that it's the understanding of that process that really is the most powerful, because I may be at a higher level today, I may be at a lower level tomorrow, but knowing that I am fluctuating and that I don't have to remain in the guilt and shame, which is what often happens, right? We walk through this earth thinking that the guilt and the shame is what I need to be experiencing at every moment of my existence.
Well,
But
some people get into the habitual low
Yes.
vibe emotions like
Yes.
shame and guilt and anger and jealousy. They get into the habit of it and they don't even realize that it doesn't have to be that way.
Yes.
And you can move into joy, enlightenment, happiness, love, and actually vibrate at that level for most of the time.
Yes. And that if you become aware of, it's like a cook or a chef. The moment you learn the recipe, then you know when you've missed something, when you've added more, and you can figure out, well, maybe I turn out with something different, but you become a master of the recipe itself. And I think that's what life is. And our last lesson in the book is to become intentional. Right? It's really once that you've established, I like it, I don't like it, I'm going to do something about it. And once that you understand how you can actually shift from those energies through gratitude, forgiveness, and acceptance, then is I'm going to live my day like this. I intend to be happy today. I intend to be helpful. I intend to be of service. Or it's even okay to say, I want to have a few hours of sadness today. I feel like I need to cry.
Well,
And
even
let it
better
all
would
out.
be to say, I am. I am happy. I am joyful. And even put a smile on your face because that changes your
Absolutely.
biochemistry dramatically.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And what we found is that the moment that you start to apply these, then it's almost like you become and you start to have more control over your life, over the
Mhm.
way you're feeling, over the way you're acting, over the way you're showing up in the world. And by that level of just slight adjustments, all of a sudden you become the master of your existence. And you
Yes.
decide how you want to live every day.
Yeah. So the narrative in your book emphasizes the power of community and
Yes.
sisterhood. How do these elements contribute to individual healing and the collective
Yeah.
empowerment of women?
Because when you are in a circle with more people and everyone is pouring their experience, their suffering, and everything, for example, you begin to understand number one, that you are not alone, that really you judge less, because at one point we understand if we're gonna be in the same shoes, we're gonna do the same. So judging is something that begins to evaporate for your consciousness. And then when people begin to tell their experience, they empty the shame and the guilt, and they begin to have more understanding. So the consciousness begins to go in a place of gratitude, forgiveness, acceptance, compassion. So everyone in the room begins to feel up and feel better about who they are. So that's why this idea to try to conquer the world alone is better if we do it together with our individuality. I know that what I bring in the table is unique and that matters. But what you bring in the table is so important. And the same for anyone that is listening and watching this. They are super special and we need them in the table because what they gonna bring is a solution. And imagine when you feel good about yourself and then you find a problem that you can solve, go and do it because no one else is gonna do it the way you do. So
Yes, exactly. Everybody brings their own passion, their own skills, their own experiences. And one of the things that I noticed during my own journey and awakening is that when I finally deeply loved who I am and accepted all of my perceived flaws, let's put it that way, all
Mhm.
of the difficulties, I accepted that they were necessary to be in my life. It made it way easier to love and accept everybody else. And so then the judgment just completely stopped. So I think you were actually saying that in
yes.
that way. So how can people find you and find your book? I'm going to put all the links on the show note page, but how can people find you?
Well, the book is available wherever books are sold. The most common place these days is Amazon. Obviously, most people are getting it there. The book exists in electronic, physical, and audio format. The audio is absolutely beautiful, and it's also in both Spanish and English.
Of
But
course.
but you can find it on Barnes and Noble, on Apple.
In your local library, if you ask for them, they gonna
Yeah.
bring it for you. So we can support the local libraries.
And you can find at www.theorchidbook.com is our website. All the information is there as well. Really, all you have to do is write down the Orchid Book on Google, and you'll get our podcast, different options for buying the book. Is pretty widely available right now. Thank you for asking.
So you have a podcast too. I've had mine for 13 years.
Oh, bless you. Ours is brand new.
It's brand new.
We decided that we wanted to interview people.
Since the beginning, the book is not about us.
Right.
The book is about that the people who are ready. So that's why we put our names really small because it's not about us. So our podcast is about of the readers of our book and how has been their experience because that is the most important part that people can see that really when you read a fantastic novel can help you to navigate life in an easier way. And if you read it to people, then you begin to have the same
Language.
language and understanding of, okay, limiting beliefs. Okay, we can talk about them because we put them really like many. Or a man going and read this novel is going to understand more how women, we've been conditioned to think.
Yes.
So is this really beautiful? We are trying to be a platform for people to understand that we want to provide communication, understanding, and common grounds for understand that what happened 5 seconds ago doesn't matter. What we can do from now on for the future.
I would add that the first season of our podcast was dedicated to all women, but the welcoming by men as well from the cover would not appear to be a book catered to men has been so large that the second season is going to be all men who have read the book and speaking of their experience after having done so. So it's an encouragement. Really, the book, it's about humans and human experiences, and everything we've mentioned, replace the word woman with man, and it's all right. There's men have experienced sexual abuse, men have experienced divorce, men are angry. All of those experiences are human in nature, and the answers are also for humans.
And
Everything we've spoken about.
it's all of that, what you describe, it sits in your cells somewhere.
Yeah.
And unless it is purged in some way, whether it's done your way or my way or however
Yeah.
somebody has done it, unless it's purged, it will then transmit to the next generation because your behavior changes your epigenetics. It
Yeah.
gets embedded with information into your genetic code and it is passed on to each generation. And that should cause people to pause and think about,
Yeah.
I really want to do self-development? Do I really want to change and raise my own vibe? Of course you do, because
Yeah.
our children are precious to us. I didn't change because it was for me. I changed because of my children.
Wow.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for them, I would probably not be alive anymore because I
Wow.
got very, very, very sick. And I decided I was the only one capable of raising my children. So I went through that transformation and awakening in that violent way.
So imagine, I love what you are saying because at one point, my mom died when she was 48 because she didn't have these tools. So, of course, now that you say that, this is the book that I wish she had in
Yeah.
her hands for her to really understand how to deal with life.
Yeah.
And when in my most darkest moment, I wish I have this book to
Yeah.
read.
My grandmother named Anastasia Chopelas was my dad's mom. She died at about the same age of breast
Mm.
cancer, and breast cancer means broken heart. Right.
Yeah.
It's
So
so important, right? What you're mentioning, and it's still not common knowledge that the illnesses that we have are
Mhm.
really the voice of our pain, of our
Yes.
stored energy, claiming to be released.
Yeah, it's screaming at us. Whatever
Yeah.
it is that we've got, it's screaming at us, take care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much for this absolutely inspiring and wonderful conversation. I can't wait to have this show up on the channel. So is next week all right? Or do you need me to wait a little longer?
No. At your timeline, no worries.
Okay. I'm pivoting my whole focus of my business to a different set of people, and it's more along your lines. It's based on your business is you, right? Whatever you do, like you have a business, whatever you do, it's you. And if you're not
Yes.
aligned in your business, you're actually sabotaging it. You have
Yeah.
usually buried energy barriers that are causing the problem related to some sort of trauma.
Hmm.
And when you clear those, business opens and flows. But that's everything, your life, your love.
Your life, right?
So I say it's all your love and money.
Yes, of course.
I agree.
It's funny you say that. We're doing similar. We're using the 5 lessons of the Orchid to teach conscious entrepreneurs these 5 lessons so that they can apply them on their business decision making, because it's the same skills, right? And
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. So we could do that as another topic of another show.
Oh, wonderful.
That would
Yes,
be
absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in to Helping Healers Succeed. You'll find resources and show notes on our website at helpinghealerssucceed.com. Until next time, I'm Dr. Anastasia Chopelas, sending you golden healing light and success vibes on your journey to becoming an entrepreneur who is aligned, confident, and prosperous. Your gifts are so needed in this world.